to the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. We are streaming live on all social media platforms and podcast streaming channels. Get ready for a revelatory teaching from our apostle, Matthew Tillery.
Well, greetings. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. I am your host, Matt Tillery. I greatly appreciate you on this great Monday. I'm just grateful to be alive. Just thank God for all that he's doing in the earth. And listen, I know he's doing some great things in your life. I know he's doing some amazing things in your life, and just really, once again, excited about what God is doing in your life. Listen, tonight is going to be another great night. We'll have another great conversation tonight, and we're still dealing with prostate cancer. September, once again, is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and for this entire month, we have been bringing different men on talking about prostate cancer because particularly for black men, African-American men, 1.7 times more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer than white men. So that's a good reason right there for us to have this conversation around prostate cancer. We are also 2.1 times more likely to die from prostate cancer than other men. So listen, those are great reasons that we need to have this conversation during this month, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Great time to talk about it. We don't talk about these things a lot in terms of getting screened and doing the necessary things that we need to do. So early detection is the key. So we have to continue to preach that. The early detection is the key. And tonight, have a super guest on tonight, none other than Mr. Rodney Britt, prostate cancer survivor. And I don't just say prostate cancer survivor. I say prostate cancer survivor and thriver. So we're not just surviving, we are thriving as well. Mr. Britt, he is from Goldsboro, right? Not too far from where we are. So we appreciate that. And he grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, metropolitan area. He's also a retired Navy officer. So we welcome him tonight to the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. Thank you so much, sir, for I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate you taking your time tonight just to come on the podcast and share about prostate cancer. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Yeah. Glad to be here and can try and do what I can to raise awareness. In my particular instance, I was diagnosed probably back in 2018, about 7 years ago.
Wow.
I started getting indicators from my primary care physician the year prior in 2017. That's when I turned 60. I'm 60. We turned 68 this year.
Oh, wow.
I'll turn 60.
Man, you look like you're about 50.
Every year. Yes, sir. I went and I would get my annual physical, and around this time in September, as a matter of fact. The good thing is I had a very, very alert and vigilant primary care physician.
Wow. And
he had been checking my PSA, and honest to goodness, I just did not know. I was more worried about blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, those issues.
Right.
He had been diligently checking my PSA, and he told me this one time my PSA has started going up.
Right.
He said that's unusual for you.
Right.
Because he said it was at this level, and all of a sudden it spiked. He said based on that spike, you need to do a retest, which I did do a retest probably about 3 or 4 months after I spoke with him and went to see him. And then in that retest, it spiked again. So he recommended I go see a urologist and for further evaluation. I did that and did the biopsy. The biopsy indicated that I had 10. They do 12 samples.
Right.
10 of my 12 samples had the prostate cancer positive reading. So based on that, I had to start looking at treatment options.
Right.
And the treatment options that they availed me were, I can just sit there and watch it and see what happens, because, at this point it was very low grade. Or, I can do a radiation or a chemo treatment. I think that mostly radiation, I think was seed and direct beam radiation, or I can do a prostatectomy where they would remove the prostate gland.
Right.
Upon the consultation with my primary care physician, I chose the latter, just to go ahead and have the gland removed.
Right.
And and since then I have remained free of the prostate related cancer.
Wow.
So yeah, it's I feel that watching it and or not checking it would not have been a good option.
Right.
And these things can explode inside of you,
right,
without you even knowing it. And you don't have symptoms.
Right.
There are no symptoms to it.
Right.
So
so you didn't have no symptoms. You had no symptoms. It was just that routine checking by your doctor.
Routine check. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Just a routine check. And I guess things happen, and it happened to me that way. Yeah. So I guess if you look at it from a biblical perspective, God talked, God spoke, I listened, and I went on and did what I needed to do. And so I'm here to tell other people. And that's when when I was in recovery, I ran into a gentleman through my wife, whose prayer partner was at that time, a colleague of his, Mr. Will Battle, who, I was recovering. He came in and said, well, we're going to start a group, start a nonprofit, Manual Health, to see if we can raise the awareness of prostate cancer. So I just immediately said, yep. My former thing was, I love playing golf. So I was in a golf club. Right. I used to get together with a bunch of guys. We go out, play golf. Have a 19th hole. Right. Smoke a cigar. And that type of thing. Maybe have a drink.
Right.
But so this is a higher calling now.
Right.
So now, as a result, I've been treasurer of Manual Health for these last 6.5 years or so. Right. So here I am, and I'd like to be able to answer any questions that someone may have, or if there's something else that I can expound on, I'll be glad to do that.
Yeah, so if you guys have some questions, if you're on YouTube, you can go ahead and put your questions in YouTube, and we should be able to pull it up. And if you're on Facebook, you can put your questions in the comment bar there. So we should be able to pull your questions up. So guys, or women, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the Facebook or YouTube, and we will make sure that we try to get to those. But one of the things that you said, you talked about that your doctor was very vigilant in terms of making sure that he was checking, or she was checking whatever they needed to check. But sometimes that doesn't happen, does it? It doesn't happen with all men. Doctors are
correct. Yes, sir. Yeah, I had one of my good friends, college roommate, and he's my second cousin, lived down in the Raleigh area. So he coincidentally had been diagnosed, was going through the same thing I was. And so he had some other colleagues of his and people that he knew that were going through a similar thing. And he said, hey, he gave me about 3 or 4 numbers to call and talk to some other guys.
Right.
And I guess the most discouraging thing, I talked to one gentleman down in Atlanta, and he said that he was diagnosed. He was like maybe stage 2 or stage 3 or whatever. And he had a urologist, and the urologist wouldn't even call him back. So I don't know if he was overwhelmed or what, but so he said he had to scramble for treatment, and he eventually, I think, got treatment from the Cancer Center of America. Wow. So sometimes you can have a doctor that's not advocating for you. I just happen to have it. My same doctor. I've had him for 20. He's my doctor for over 20 years. So he just I guess, and just to be clear about it, he's African American male.
Right.
He knew of a lot of these things that were going on.
Right.
And of course I didn't.
Right.
And so he just basically he was advocating on my behalf.
Right.
Which I really appreciate him for that.
Right.
To this day. But at the same time, if you are aware, you can advocate for yourself, which if I didn't have the right type of medical care or the right physician, it could have been a different outcome for me.
Right.
Because it's something that you don't really think about. You go in there, they do your blood work, and big thing for me was heart attack, stroke, all that stuff, blood pressure.
Right.
That's what I've been. I was oriented towards as far as what I needed to watch.
Right. Right.
This and that. Watch all those factors. I did not think about PSA.
Right.
And I heard about prostate, enlarged prostate and some of that, but I did not. I just had no knowledge about the PSA. I
right.
Just didn't.
Right.
And so it was just really just a blessing the way things occurred.
Right. Yeah, and there are health disparities when it comes to black men getting treatment. So, you talked about being an advocate, and your doctor was an advocate for you, but once again, a lot of us don't get that. And, sometimes we have to push the button, and we have to kind of look, I know what you're saying, but I feel like that we need to push this thing a little, it's not nothing to take lightly. So just like with me, they didn't want to do an MRI here because they said it was a low grade, but it was still cancer, right?
Right.
To me, it's cancer. That's all I know. That's all I knew.
Right.
So we need to do whatever MRI and ARI and anything else that you have access to, right? So, but I had to be an advocate, and I had to keep pushing it. This is what I think needs to happen. I know you're the doctor, but listen, man, this is my health, my life. So.
Absolutely.
You're right. You have to be an advocate for yourself, and you have to be an advocate for yourself because a lot of times because of the health disparities, that's just the reality of it. That's just the way it is. And
that's correct.
So we have to be an advocate. And
right.
The good thing with you is that you had a doctor that was an advocate for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. And to your conclusion there, and to your point, just two things I recall. I had a brother-in-law. He lived up in Minneapolis, Minnesota area, and he had gone to his physical there, and the guidelines did not call for a PSA screening.
Right.
So they said if he wanted to be screened, he had to come out of pocket for that screening.
Right.
Now this was some years ago, but at the same time, that's how he was treated.
Right.
There's certain areas of the country that will follow the guidelines, and I don't know whether it's been changed yet, but I do know that I think the Medical Association or whatever, they said that in many instances. Screening was not always necessary.
Right.
And now I've run into urologists that have said that. And the thing about that whole thing is if you don't speak up for yourself,
right.
You can certainly they can miss your diagnosis, and then you have to be subject to more treatment to get this thing under control. And and I think a lot of the guidelines really are based upon white males.
Exactly.
And it doesn't include African American males.
Right. So
and that can just certainly be something that can be a hindrance
Right.
to you as an African American if you don't speak up, or as Apostle Tillery is saying, you sometimes just got to get on the table and start jumping up and down and screaming.
Right.
You know,
Right.
just to make it happen.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, and you know, I tell you, I don't know. It's to me a you know, it's just basically it's just a numbers thing where, you know, some people they don't never have a problem, and then some do. And why that is, I don't think anyone really knows.
Right.
But certainly, if you do have a problem, or you know, you do get something, and it metastasizes, you know, at that time, you know, it gets, you know, that's when you really have to become aggressive,
Right.
to ensure that, you know, that they can help save your life.
Right. Right. Yeah. What would you say to the men that, you know, sometimes men, we don't like to go to the doctor for anything, but I'm not one of those men. I go for everything. So,
Right.
but what would you say to the men that, you know, say, well, I don't need to get checked. I'm only 45, 50 years old, and, you know, I don't need to go get no prostate testing and checked and PSA. I don't need to do any of that stuff. What would you say to that person?
Well, you know, as a Navy person, you know, I can tell you, you know, there was always the phrase, you got to turn hard over and come about. So you just got to do a 180,
Right.
and you know, come about, and just understand that, you know, it can be it can be a lifesaver if you do, and if you don't. And you got something going on inside of you, you know, it's just going to be a lot more difficult to get control of it if you know, you let it metastasize.
Right.
So yeah, you just gotta change your mindset.
Right. Right.
And you just got to do a 180, because especially if you you know, still in a work career, if you've got loved ones you know, you're looking to care for, and that type of thing, you just got to do a 180.
Right.
Get educated, become aware, and there's plenty of resources out there. Make yourself. I mean, you can Google a lot of this stuff yourself.
Right. Right.
Find a good, reliable physician. It may not have to be a physician; it could be a nurse practitioner, physician
Right.
assistant, whoever. I mean, you know, just let them take that test, get that test, and you just can't take one. You need to take it over a period of time, because your test can show normal,
Right.
to be normalcy, and then you can get a spike. You know, it don't take long for it to spike. So yeah, you just gotta, you know, be doing it at many different intervals
Right.
to ensure that you understand what your body is doing.
Right.
And the other side of it is that sometimes for some, it says that just because you have a high PSA don't necessarily mean you have the prostate cancer.
Right. Right.
And you may have even a low PSA and you have the prostate cancer.
Right.
So
Right.
you just really got to know you,
Right.
and know what your numbers are, and what might be a risk factor for you.
Right.
Yeah. So it's I tell you, it's but that PSA is definitely an indicator. I guess the other part of it is if you've got some nodules on your prostate, you know, you do the digital rectal exam, which, you know, I had when I used to get those, there was nothing there.
Right.
I mean, none of my digital rectal exams showed nothing.
Wow.
It was basically just contained inside the gland itself, and I guess the gland secretions is what alerted the physicians
Right.
to my situation. So you got to understand what's going on inside of you.
Right. Exactly.
And you got to have someone that can interpret what's going on.
Right. And those numbers, like you said, that they can change so rapidly. I went for a yearly prostate exam in 2021 February, and the numbers were normal, between 0 and 4. They said normal, but it was the doctor said, okay, everything looks good. You know, your PSA is in that range, right? February. In April, I went to get another physical for another life insurance policy, and the PSA had spiked up. So you're talking about from February to April.
That's right.
So that's why it's so important that because it can just shift just like that.
Just like that. Yes, sir. And that's what happened to me. It shifted within about a year.
Yeah.
Can't say why. You just don't really know. But the more you're able to get, I'm not saying go get tested every week or every month or all that, but
right.
You just need to have a periodic test.
Right.
To find out what's going on. Annual is reasonable.
Right.
But if you have a history, you may want to do it maybe semi-annually, twice a year.
Right.
And I guess that brings the mind to another issue is, and that's talking to people.
Right.
Especially in your family. I think that we've seen instances where brothers, you have a brother that may have had his treatment and all that, didn't tell anybody.
Right.
But his own family didn't know.
Right, exactly.
So, and some of this stuff could be hereditary, and certainly, but by you talking to someone that may be a family member, and then if you have something like that in your history, certainly that would maybe encourage some men to go and seek some type of testing themselves.
Yeah, I have a brother up in Baltimore, and about 3 weeks ago, I said, man, you need to get, you're at an age now where you really need to get your prostate checked, get your PSA checked. Well, he did go get it checked. When he got it checked, it was abnormal.
Right.
So, they did the biopsy. It hadn't come back yet. But
okay.
But that conversation that I had with him, he was open to hear, right? And then he received the information, so he ran with it. So it could have saved his life if he just said, I'm not going to decide to go until 5 years from now, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, you don't want to wait because you just don't know. Waiting, to me, is the bad or the worst option, and has greater potential for the worst outcome when you decide to wait. Watch and wait. You just don't want to do it.
Right. That's what my doctor told me. He said, I suggest that you do active surveillance. I said, well, when he told me what it was, I said, no, that's not even an option for me. I said, what are we watching it grow and watching it kill me?
Well, yeah, and that's true. But I think that, and one of the things is, they say is that some men have the prostate cancer, and it's most men that get it at some point in their lives.
Right.
And you can be 80, 90 years old, and you can have the prostate cancer. I think we saw that with our former president, Joe Biden. I think he's like 80, and they found prostate cancer in him.
Right.
So, but you don't know. And I think I talked to a gentleman at American Cancer Society. He had gotten diagnosed with it at 32.
Wow.
It had treatment, and then it came back on him some years after that. So, again, we all are different. Our DNA patterns are different. And so you just don't know. And I guess unless they are able to pinpoint maybe what's in your DNA that can cause this thing to happen for different men, whether it be African American or whether you be a white or whatever color.
Right.
But they just haven't gotten that far. Research is not there where they can have that type of predictability based on what's in your DNA.
Right. Yeah. Let me ask you this. So when you discovered that you had prostate cancer, from a mental perspective, how was that? Because for me, I know everybody's different.
Right.
For me, it was the first 5 days, about the first 5 nights. But after that, I started to move on. We're gonna go ahead and deal with. I done cried. I done did all that stuff. So now let's get up and move and let's do something.
Well, I guess for me, I had been dealing with cancer-related matters for a number of years. My wife, when we first got married, this was back in I think around 1985. She had had her first child, and she had a lump on her neck, a goiter, and doctors told her, hey, that's it was in the family, it's normal, that type of thing.
Right.
Well,
right.
she had a surgeon. She was working over Walter Reed, and again, that surgeon said, hey, it was a pediatric surgeon at that. He said, hey, you probably need to get that out. They did a biopsy, and the biopsy was not conclusive. They took it out, and it turned out to be some type, I guess, however they diagnosed or rated cancer back then. It turned out to be a very aggressive cancer that she had that had not started spreading, but was about to.
Wow.
And so,
wow.
So we've been dealing with that, and then she had to have treatments and all kinds of things. And so we had that hanging over our lives for a long time. So I went through that with her.
Right.
And
right.
we went to see, there was a gentleman at Howard University. He was at the time, the world renowned, he was a cancer expert. His name was LaSalle Lafall. And, believe it or not, he was African-American, but he was the #1 guy in the world for cancer.
Wow.
And so, we went to see him. I had Walter Reed set us up with him. He gave my wife a consult, looked at all the stuff, said, hey, you need to let them go back in and clean out your thyroid, because they did a partial on her and left some of the thyroid function in there.
Right.
So they went out there and cleaned everything out. And so I had that history, that background.
Right.
So when they told me, I had something going on, I said, okay, well, if it is, I know that I just got to I got to go and do something to take care of it.
Right.
So
right.
I guess I wasn't really hit that hard.
Right.
Per se.
Right.
Because, they said it was, and then, I got the report from the doctor, and my wife read it, and she's a nurse.
Right.
We looked at it, and she was able to tell me, okay, yeah, this is very, very low grade. And so things haven't started happening yet.
Right.
So I guess with that, I just kind of took it in stride.
Right.
So to speak. Because now I guess it would have been different had they said, okay, well, yeah, it's spreading. It's in your lymph nodes. You got you're stage 3.
Right.
You got to start looking at other forms of treatment.
Right.
But they said basically if you do something about this, then maybe it will give you some more years on your life, which is what I did.
Right.
So that was my feeling. But you still get that jitteriness from the whole experience,
right.
which you have to get through.
Right. Yeah, I was, my mom had just passed, and 2 weeks later, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. So I was still tore up with my mom, right?
Sure.
So
I understand.
I was dealing with that piece, and then that hit. So, but nevertheless, the Lord will give you strength to get through what you need to get through.
That's exactly right. But I think that Apostle, that in this day and time, certainly the resources, the technology has advanced a lot more than what it was 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
Sometimes I think at that point, somebody's got cancer, that was almost tantamount to a death sentence. But now, if you get in there and you do things, it can, it becomes less likely that you're gonna you become more likely to survive.
Right.
Or survive it. So and I think that's the good news. I think that's how God has blessed us, is that He has provided the resources, where all this work that has been done, research and so many different things, different types of treatment options that are there are now available, and most of them is covered by insurance. So if you got any type of insurance, and then even when you don't, if you have Medicaid insurance, whatever, you still get covered.
Right.
That's the beauty of this country. And in this country, you still can have coverage for that condition. Medicare covers that condition. You may come out of pocket some, but it is affordable.
Right.
But you just got to get up and take some action.
Right. Get up and take some actions. Listen, that's a powerful statement there.
Yes,
listen,
sir.
man, if you haven't been checked, if you're 40 years old and if you have never been checked, your PSA, make sure you get checked. It's very vital, not just for you, but for your family. Our families want us to be around a long time. So we need to make sure that we're doing, I look at getting your PSA, I look at it like this, Rodney, like I look at it like your eating habits, exercising, all of that stuff, getting your PSA, your eating habits, exercising, all of that stuff is part of us staying healthy, right?
It is. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've talked to many. I've talked and gone in groups. Some say that they've dealt with this issue just by changing their diet. I'm not a full advocate of that, but some they go straight vegetarian, vegan. They do different things. Some people take, they try and go holistic type things. But I think that it can work, and it might work if you have the discipline to do all that. But certainly, modification, moderations of things. I think sugar. They talk about all those types of things, which I'm really just now myself still struggling with. I used to like to drink a Coke. Or drink lemonade or all this kind of, but they say you got to drink more water. Right. So my wife is working on me with that right now.
Same here, sir. The same here. Lord help me.
But, I grew up seeing people do it, and they sweet tea, whatever, man. Yeah, and so it's all in moderation. Yeah. And doing things, but and certainly exercise. There are different things, but. I don't know. You got athletes out there, people that exercise and did things all their lives, and they still come up with the diagnosis. Right. So I don't know, sir. It's puzzling. Yeah, it really is to me.
Well, look, our time is almost up. Is there anything else you would like to share tonight?
No. Other than that, I just like to say thanks for having me on this podcast. Certainly, we'd be welcome to do it again. At some point in the future.
Yeah, I would love for you to come back.
Yes, sir. And if there are any questions, or if anyone has a question after the fact, you have my Manual Health email address, which certainly anyone feel free to reach out. Yeah,
I'll make sure get that email if there are any questions. I haven't seen any pop up.
Okay.
But if there are some, we definitely make sure I'll send them to your email.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you all tonight. Kingdom Conversation about prostate cancer. Mr. Rodney Britt has been a really great conversation tonight. And listen, I appreciate you all that's over there on Facebook. If you could go ahead and hit the share button, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're over on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, ML Tillery Outreach, go ahead and subscribe to the ML Tillery Outreach channel over on YouTube. I would greatly appreciate that. And to those of you that's listening by way of the podcast channels, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the downloads that you do. Thank you for subscribing to the ML Tillery Outreach Advancing the Kingdom podcast. I really appreciate you as well. So we just thank you so much. And just once again, Rodney, thank you so much for just taking time out tonight and coming on the podcast, just sharing your story, man. I really appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you, Apostle.
All right, listen, I'm Apostle Matt Tillery. Until next week, next Monday at 7 p.m., go and advance the kingdom.
We pray you have been empowered and blessed by this teaching. Join us next week for the Advancing the Kingdom podcast. If you would like to reach us, email us at mltillery@icloud.com.